Kian was not like other humans on Earth. He had trained for years in the art of combat and survival, traveling to the farthest corners of the planet to test his skills. He was strong, smart, and brave, but he had never expected his life to take a turn that would carry him far beyond his world. It began on a quiet morning when Kian was exploring the northern mountains, a place few humans dared to go. The sky was pale blue and the wind carried a crisp chill. He had been following a narrow canyon, curious about reports of strange energy readings in the area. The canyon walls glowed faintly, like the rocks themselves were humming with power. Kian reached a narrow pass when the ground suddenly shook beneath his feet. Rocks tumbled from the cliffs above, and he leapt to the side just in time to avoid being crushed. The earth split open in front of him, revealing a deep fissure that glowed with a strange, pulsing light. Without thinking, Kian stepped closer. He had always been drawn to the unknown. He reached out his hand, and a sudden surge of energy lifted him off the ground. His vision blurred, and he felt himself being pulled into a bright, swirling tunnel. Then, with a force that left him breathless, he landed on a smooth, metallic surface. Kian opened his eyes. He was no longer on Earth. He looked around in awe. The place was vast, like a city carved into a single giant crystal. Towering spires reflected colors he had never seen before. Strange flying vessels moved silently above, leaving trails of sparkling light. He realized he had arrived in another world. As Kian tried to gather his thoughts, he noticed a figure approaching. It was tall and graceful, with luminous skin that shimmered in the sunlight. Its eyes were large and expressive, glowing faintly like liquid silver. The being wore a long flowing robe that seemed to move as if it had a life of its own. "Who are you?" Kian asked, keeping his hand on the hilt of his sword, though he had no desire to use it. The being tilted its head, studying him with curiosity. "You are not from here," it said in a voice that seemed to echo in his mind rather than his ears. "You have crossed the veil without permission. Few can survive the journey." Kian swallowed nervously. I don't know how I got here. I was exploring on Earth and something pulled me here." The being stepped closer and Kian could see the intricate patterns on its skin, like glowing circuits running beneath the surface. "You are human," it said. "We have heard legends of your kind. You possess a strength of will that surpasses most known species. You may be more important to us than you realize." Before Kian could ask what it meant, a loud alarm sounded throughout the city. Red lights flashed across the spires and the ground vibrated once again. The being's eyes widened. "Trouble. The shadow swarm has breached the outer defenses. You must follow me if you wish to survive." Kian had no choice. He followed the being through winding corridors and open plazas filled with other creatures of every shape and size. Some looked like floating crystals, others like beings of liquid light. All of them seemed tense, their movements urgent. Finally, they arrived at a large chamber at the center of the city. There, on a raised platform, stood an even larger figure. Its presence was commanding, and Kian felt a strange sense of awe. This was the alien queen. Her form was regal, her skin a deep radiant color, and her eyes shone like twin moons. She radiated power and authority. "You have brought a human into our city," the queen said, her voice gentle but firm. "Tell me, stranger, how did you come to walk among us?" Kian bowed respectfully. "I was exploring a canyon on Earth, and I was pulled here by some strange energy. I did not mean to intrude." The queen studied him carefully. "It is rare for a human to survive the veil. You must have extraordinary resilience. Perhaps fate has brought you to us for a reason." Before Kian could respond, a deep rumble shook the chamber. Dark, shadowy creatures were pouring into the city from the outer gates. They were fast, with jagged bodies and glowing red eyes. The inhabitants of the city began to mobilize, using strange weapons that fired beams of light and shields of energy. Kian's instincts took over. He drew his sword, feeling the familiar weight in his hand. He moved forward to help, cutting through one of the shadow creatures with precision. The queen watched him, her expression unreadable. "You fight well," she said to him. "Your courage is remarkable. Few here have your determination." Kian nodded, but he had little time to speak. More creatures were coming, and the city's defenders were struggling to hold them back. Kian noticed a group of smaller beings trying to protect a central control device, a glowing crystal that seemed to power the city's shields. The shadow creatures were targeting it. Kian sprinted toward the crystal, using his sword to fend off attackers. The queen followed, directing her forces to protect him. Together, they reached the crystal just as a massive creature lunged at them. Kian leapt and struck with all his strength, driving the creature back. The queen raised her hands, and a brilliant wave of energy surged from her, pushing the remaining enemies away. The city's shields flickered but held, thanks to the defenders and Kian's quick actions. After the attack, the queen approached him. "You have saved many lives today, human. You have proven yourself not just in strength but in spirit. I wish to know more about you. Perhaps you can help us in ways we cannot yet imagine." Kian felt a mixture of pride and confusion. I don't know much about your world. I am just a warrior from Earth," the queen smiled faintly. "Perhaps that is why you are needed. Sometimes those who come from afar see solutions that natives cannot. You may be our greatest hope against the shadow swarm." Kian took a deep breath, realizing that his life had changed forever. He had come seeking adventure and discovery, but he had found something far greater, a purpose beyond his own world. As the city began to recover and repair the damage from the attack, Kian stood beside the queen, watching the horizon where the shadow swarm had disappeared. He knew this was only the beginning of a larger journey. He had survived the veil, and now he would face challenges that tested not just his strength, but his courage, his mind, and his heart. For the first time, Kian felt a connection not just to this new world, but to the beings who lived there, and to the queen who had trusted him in a moment of crisis. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: he would not turn away. He would fight, he would learn, and he would help protect this world no matter the cost. The queen looked at him once more. "Rest now, human. You will need your strength for what comes next. Tomorrow, your journey truly begins." Kian nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He had crossed the veil, and his destiny was now intertwined with this alien world. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he was ready. And so, under the light of 2 moons, Kian prepared for a future he had never imagined. A future where humans could stand not just on Earth, but among the stars. Kian awoke to the soft light filtering through the tall crystal windows of the alien city. The events of the previous day still weighed heavily on him. He had survived the veil, helped defend the city, and earned the queen's notice. Yet he knew he was far from ready for the challenges that lay ahead. The shadow swarm was still out there, and the queen had hinted that his journey was only beginning. A gentle tap on his door caught his attention. Kian rose and opened it to find a small being waiting for him. It had a bright, glowing form, about half the height of a human, with wings that shimmered in the light. Its voice chimed like bells when it spoke. "Human Kian, the queen requests your presence," it said. "It is time to begin your training. You must learn our ways to face the shadow swarm." Kian nodded and followed the creature through the sparkling city streets. He noticed that the citizens were repairing damage from the last attack. Crystalline structures that had been cracked were now glowing again, powered by energy he did not yet understand. Flying vehicles carried materials across the city with precision. Everything was efficient, yet there was a beauty to it he had never seen before. The creature led him to a vast training arena at the center of the city. The arena was circular, surrounded by high walls of transparent crystal. The floor was smooth, reflecting the light of the twin suns above. Several alien warriors were already there, practicing combat techniques. Their movements were precise and fluid, almost like a dance. The queen appeared at the center of the arena. Her presence commanded silence, yet her gaze was encouraging. "Kian," she said, "you have strength and courage, but you must learn more. To protect this world, you must understand our methods and combine them with your human skill. You will train with our warriors and learn the ways of our people." Kian felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He was used to training on Earth, but this was something different. These beings had abilities he had never imagined, and their technology was far beyond anything he had seen. A tall warrior approached him. Its skin was a deep blue, and it wore armor that seemed to shimmer with energy. "I am Talon," it said. "I will be your guide. You will learn our combat techniques, our strategies, and our ways of thinking. You are strong, but you must adapt to survive here." The first weeks of training were grueling. Kian learned to move with agility and low gravity, to wield energy weapons that fired beams of light, and to coordinate with beings whose senses were far sharper than his own. He struggled at first, but his determination never wavered. Each time he failed, he studied his mistakes and tried again. Talon was a patient teacher, but firm. "You cannot rely on strength alone," it said one day, as Kian tried to lift a heavy energy blade. "Your mind must guide your body, Anticipate, observe, and act with precision. That is how we fight. Kian nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. Slowly, he began to improve. He could move faster, strike more accurately, and think strategically in ways he never had before. The alien warriors began to respect his efforts, and even some of the more experienced ones asked him questions about human combat techniques. One evening, after a long day of training, the Queen approached Kian. She had observed his progress and was pleased. "You have adapted quickly," she said. "The Shadow Swarm will not wait, and soon we must face them again. I sense that your presence here is more than coincidence. You may be the key to uniting our forces against them." Kian felt a sense of responsibility settle over him. He was just one human among many powerful beings, yet he had been given a chance to make a difference. He realized that his journey was no longer about adventure alone. It was about protecting a world that had welcomed him despite his foreignness. The next challenge came sooner than expected. During a routine training exercise, alarms blared across the city. Kian and the other warriors rushed to the walls where dark shapes moved like shadows across the horizon. The Shadow Swarm had returned, larger and more organized than before. Talon turned to Kian. "This is not a drill. Use what you have learned. Work with us. Trust your instincts." Kian nodded, gripping his energy sword tightly. As the creatures approached, he noticed how different they were from anything on Earth. They were fast, coordinated, and seemed to anticipate the defenders' moves. Kian had to think quickly. He recalled a strategy from his Earth training, combining it with the alien techniques he had learned. He moved to flank the creatures, drawing them away from the city's main defenses. The alien warriors followed his lead, their energy shields and weapons coordinating with his actions. Kian felt a surge of confidence as the strategy worked. The creatures were divided, making them easier to defeat. The Queen watched from above, her energy aura glowing brighter as she channeled power to reinforce the city's shields. Kian fought tirelessly, using both his human instincts and his new skills to protect the defenders and push back the Shadow Swarm. After a long and intense battle, the creatures retreated, disappearing into the horizon. The city was safe, but Kian was exhausted. He had never faced an enemy like this before. Yet he had survived and contributed to the defense. The other warriors approached him, nodding in respect. "You are not like any human we have known," Talon said. "You fight with heart, mind, and skill. You have earned your place among us." The Queen descended from her platform, standing beside Kian. "You have done well," she said. "But this victory is only temporary. The Shadow Swarm will return stronger than before. We must find a way to end this threat once and for all. That will be your next challenge, Kian. Your human perspective may hold the key." Kian felt the weight of her words. He had grown stronger, but he knew that more trials awaited. He also realized that he was not alone. He had allies, friends, and a queen who trusted him. Together they could face what was coming. As night fell over the Crystal City, Kian trained further, refining his skills and learning more about the alien technology. He studied the patterns of the Shadow Swarm, trying to anticipate their next move. He learned that their attacks were not random. They had strategy, coordination, and a hunger for domination. Kian also began to understand the city's power source. The glowing crystals that powered shields, weapons, and transportation. The Shadow Swarm targeted these crystals to weaken the city. If he could find a way to protect them or use them strategically, they might gain an advantage. Days passed, and Kian grew stronger, more confident, and more connected to the alien world. He realized that being human did not make him weaker. It gave him creativity, adaptability, and determination. These qualities were what the Queen had seen in him, and what the Shadow Swarm could not anticipate. One morning, Kian stood on a high balcony overlooking the city. The twin suns rose in the sky, casting light across the crystal spires. He felt a sense of purpose like never before. He had come from Earth seeking adventure, and he had found something far greater. A mission to protect a world and its people, to unite different beings, and to prove that humans could rise to challenges beyond imagination. The Queen appeared beside him, her presence calm and steady. "The time will soon come," she said. "You will need all that you have learned. But I believe in you, Kian. You are more than a human warrior. You are a symbol of hope." Kian nodded. "I will not fail," he said, feeling the determination burning inside him. He knew that the battles ahead would be difficult, but he also knew that he had the courage, skill, and heart to face them. And so Kian's training continued, each day preparing him for the ultimate confrontation with the Shadow Swarm. He had learned that being human in a galaxy full of extraordinary beings was not a weakness, it was a strength. With determination, ingenuity, and the support of his new allies, Kian was ready to face the challenges that lay beyond the horizon. The journey had only just begun, but Kian was no longer just a visitor in this alien world. He was a warrior, a protector, and a symbol of what humans could achieve when they dared to reach for the stars. Kian woke early, the light of the twin suns casting long shadows across the crystal city. Today was different from his usual training. The Queen had summoned him and told him he would be leading a mission beyond the city's walls for the first time. His heart raced with excitement and nerves. He had trained, learned the alien techniques, and gained the respect of the city's warriors. But this would be his first real test. He dressed in his combat armor, the sleek alien design fitting surprisingly well with his human frame. Talon met him at the city gates, ready to guide and support him. "The Shadow Swarm has been spotted in the outer planes," Talon explained. "We do not know their full strength, and their movements are unpredictable. Your leadership will be crucial." Kian nodded. "I understand. I'll do my best." The mission team assembled, a mix of alien warriors, engineers, and scouts. Kian felt a surge of responsibility. He was not just fighting. He was leading these beings, some of whom had lived on this world for centuries. They looked to him for direction, trusting a human to make the right decisions. The team left the city in sleek flying vessels that glided effortlessly through the sky. As they traveled, Kian studied the terrain below. The plains were vast and uneven, with rocky outcrops and strange glowing plants. This world was beautiful, but it was also dangerous. The Shadow Swarm could be hiding anywhere. "Keep your focus," Talon advised. "The creatures are clever. They will strike when least expected." The team landed at a ridge overlooking a valley. From their vantage point, Kian could see movement in the distance, dark shapes skimming across the plains. The Shadow Swarm had arrived. They were larger in number than Kian had anticipated, but his training had prepared him for this. "Form a perimeter," Kian instructed. "Scouts, take the high ground. Engineers, prepare defensive barriers. Warriors, ready your weapons." We cannot underestimate them. The aliens followed his orders with precision, impressed by his calm under pressure. Kian's human instincts guided his decisions, while his alien training allowed him to use their technology effectively. This combination made him a strong leader. The Shadow Swarm attacked suddenly, rushing down the valley with incredible speed. Kian stayed at the center of his formation, directing his team with clear and concise commands. Using their energy weapons and shields, they slowed the swarm's advance, but Kian noticed something unusual. The creatures were adapting to the defenses. Each wave was slightly different, testing the team's reactions. "We need a new strategy," Kian said, scanning the valley. He saw a cluster of rock formations nearby. An idea formed in his mind. "Lead the swarm toward the cliffs," he instructed. "We can use the terrain to our advantage. Trap them in a narrow pass and then strike." The team moved quickly, adjusting their positions. Kian led the creatures toward the cliffs, using precise maneuvers to guide them. The Shadow Swarm fell into the trap, compressed in a tight space with little room to maneuver. Kian signaled the warriors, and a coordinated attack began. Energy beams, swords, and shields combined in perfect harmony, pushing back the swarm. Despite the success, Kian noticed a larger creature moving differently from the others. It seemed to be a commander, directing the swarm with intelligence. This would not be easy. "We need to take down that one," Kian said to Talon. "It's controlling the others." Talon nodded, understanding the plan immediately. "We can lure it into a canyon," it said. "If we isolate it, we can defeat it without endangering the others." Kian led the maneuver, careful to protect his team. The large creature chased him, its speed and strength unlike anything he had faced before. Kian drew upon every skill he had learned, the agility, the strategy, the coordination of attacks with his team. They guided the creature into the canyon, where the walls amplified their energy weapons. With a final combined strike, the commander was defeated, and the remaining Shadow Swarm retreated. The valley was quiet once again. Kian breathed heavily, feeling both relief and pride. They had succeeded in their first mission outside the city, and he had proven himself as a capable leader. The team gathered together, congratulating each other. Kian felt a strong bond forming with them. He realized that leadership was not just about giving orders. It was about trust, communication, and shared effort. Without the teamwork of the aliens, the strategy would have failed. Returning to the city, Kian reflected on the mission. He had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, but he had also discovered his potential. He understood now why the Queen had chosen him. Humans were different, yes, but that difference could be a strength. His instincts, creativity, and determination had made a real difference. Back in the city, the Queen awaited him in her council chamber. She smiled as Kian entered. "You have done well," she said. "Your first mission was a success, but the Shadow Swarm will not give up so easily. You have proven that humans can stand among us not just in courage but in wisdom." Kian bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did what was necessary to protect your world." The Queen studied him thoughtfully. "There is more at stake than you know. The Shadow Swarm is part of a larger threat. Their attacks are growing bolder because they are searching for something ancient and powerful hidden on this planet. We must uncover it before they do." Kian's curiosity was piqued. "Ancient and powerful? What could it be?" The Queen's eyes glimmered. "That is a story for another time. For now you must continue your training and missions. You will need every skill, every ally, and every bit of courage to face what is coming." Kian understood. The mission had been a victory, but it was only the beginning. The Shadow Swarm was clever and relentless, and there was a larger danger waiting. He realized that this world, the city, and the Queen had entrusted him with much more than combat. They had entrusted him with hope. Over the following days, Kian trained even harder. He studied the patterns of the Shadow Swarm, worked with engineers to understand the city's energy crystals, and coordinated with alien scouts to map the surrounding terrain. Every new skill, every new piece of knowledge made him stronger and more prepared for the challenges ahead. One evening, as Kian rested on a balcony, Talon approached him. "You have grown much," it said. "Your strategy, your ability to lead, it is impressive. The Queen believes in you, and so do we all." Kian nodded. "I feel different now," he admitted. "I am still human, but I am part of this world too. I am not just fighting for them, I am fighting with them." Talon's wings shimmered. "That is the essence of true leadership. You inspire trust, not just fear. You guide, not just command. That is why the Shadow Swarm cannot predict you. They cannot understand the strength that comes from unity." Kian smiled. For the first time, he felt confident that he could face the challenges ahead. He knew that the next mission would be harder, that the Shadow Swarm would test him in ways he had never imagined. Yet he was ready. The city rested under the light of the twin moons. Kian stood looking out at the horizon, imagining the battles yet to come. He felt the responsibility weighing on his shoulders, but he also felt a surge of determination. He had been brought here by fate, but he would stay because he chose to. He would fight, learn, and lead. He would prove that humans were capable of greatness even among the stars. And as the city slept peacefully for now, Kian prepared himself for the journey ahead. His first mission had been a success, but the galaxy held greater challenges. With courage, skill, and allies by his side, Kian was ready to face them. The journey was far from over, and the legend of the human warrior was only beginning. Kian awoke to the soft hum of the Crystal City. The events of the first mission outside the walls had left him exhilarated and tired at the same time. The Shadow Swarm had been driven back, but the Queen's warning echoed in his mind. They were searching for something ancient and powerful hidden on this planet. After breakfast, Kian reported to the Queen. She was waiting in her council chamber, calm but serious. "Kian," she said, "it is time for you to learn more about what the Shadow Swarm seeks. There is an ancient artifact hidden deep beneath the surface of this world. Its power is unlike anything you have seen. If the swarm finds it, they will grow unstoppable." Kian felt a mix of excitement and concern. "Where is it?" he asked. The Queen shook her head. "Its location is protected by trials and guardians. Few have ever approached it. That is why you are needed. Your human ingenuity combined with your training may allow you to reach it before the swarm." Talon stepped forward. "We will guide you as best we can, Kian, but the path will be dangerous. You must rely on your mind and your instincts as much as your strength." Kian nodded, determination shining in his eyes. "I am ready." The team prepared for the journey. They traveled in sleek vessels to the northern mountains, where ancient ruins marked the entrance to a hidden underground world. The ruins were covered with glowing symbols, strange patterns that pulsed faintly with energy. Kian studied them carefully, realizing that they were more than decoration. They were warnings and guidance left by the planet's ancestors. As they entered the ruins, the air grew cooler and the light dimmer. Kian felt the weight of history around him. The walls were etched with stories of past civilizations, of battles fought and sacrifices made to protect the artifact. He realized that this mission was not only about fighting the Shadow Swarm, it was about honoring a legacy older than humans or aliens. The first challenge came quickly. A narrow passage was blocked by a massive stone door, covered in intricate carvings. Talon examined it carefully. "These symbols are a code," it said. "We must solve it to open the door. Many have failed at this point." Kian studied the carvings. His human mind worked differently than the alien way of thinking. While the aliens tried to follow the pattern strictly, Kian noticed a simple rhythm hidden within the complexity. He pointed it out to Talon, who followed his lead. Slowly, the symbols shifted, glowing brighter, and the stone door opened with a deep, resonant sound. The team moved forward, impressed by Kian's insight. "Your perspective is unique," Talon said. "Sometimes the simplest view is the one that reveals the truth." Deeper in the ruins, the path became more treacherous. The ground shifted beneath their feet, and strange energy traps activated without warning. Kian's training had prepared him to anticipate danger, but the combination of alien technology and ancient design made this a challenge like none he had faced before. Using both his human instincts and the techniques he had learned from Talon, Kian led the team safely through each obstacle. They crossed energy bridges, navigated rotating corridors, and avoided traps that could have been deadly. Each success built confidence, and Kian's bond with his team grew stronger. Finally, they reached a massive chamber at the heart of the ruins. In the center rested a glowing crystal, larger than any Kian had seen, pulsing with energy that seemed alive. The air hummed with power, and Kian felt a strange warmth in his chest. This was the artifact the Queen had spoken of, but they were not alone. Shadow Swarm creatures had tracked them to this place, larger and more organized than before. The creatures moved quickly, but Kian had prepared for this possibility. He instructed the team to form a protective perimeter around the crystal. "We must defend it at all costs," he said. "If the swarm takes it, this world is lost." The battle began. Kian moved through the chamber with precision, directing his team and striking the Shadow Swarm with both skill and strategy. The creatures adapted to their attacks, but Kian anticipated their movements, coordinating the defenses with energy shields, weapons, and quick thinking. At one point, a massive Shadow Swarm commander advanced toward the crystal, breaking through the defenses. Kian leapt forward, using a combination of human agility and alien techniques to block its path. Talon and the other warriors joined him, creating a powerful force that pushed the commander back. Kian noticed that the crystal itself seemed to respond to his presence. Its glow intensified when he approached, as if recognizing his determination. He realized that the artifact was not just powerful, but intelligent in a way, capable of sensing courage and purpose. With renewed determination, Kian devised a plan. He would use the chamber's layout to trap the commander while protecting the crystal. Moving swiftly, he led the Shadow Swarm into a narrow corridor where their numbers were less effective. Using energy traps from the ruins and precise strikes from his team, they defeated the commander, forcing the remaining creatures to retreat. The chamber fell silent. Kian stood before the crystal, breathing heavily but victorious. The artifact's glow bathed the room in light, and he felt a deep sense of accomplishment. They had succeeded in protecting the ancient secret, at least for now. Talon approached him, wings shimmering in the light. "You did it, Kian. Your leadership and insight made the difference. Few could have succeeded where you did." Kian looked at the crystal, still pulsing with energy. "It feels alive," he said. "I think it recognizes us not just as protectors, but as friends." The Queen's voice echoed through the chamber, calm and proud. "You have done more than survive the trials, Kian. You have proven that humans can rise to challenges that others cannot. The artifact is safe thanks to your courage, intelligence, and spirit. But remember, the Shadow Swarm will return. They are persistent and relentless. Your journey is far from over." Kian nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Protecting the artifact had been a victory, but the greater battle was still ahead. He realized that being human gave him a perspective the aliens did not have, a way of thinking that could overcome even the most ancient challenges. As they returned to the city, Kian reflected on what had happened. The ruins, the trials, and the artifact had tested him in every way, physically, mentally, and emotionally. He had learned to trust his instincts, think creatively, and lead with confidence. He also understood the importance of teamwork, respecting the strengths of his allies while offering his own unique contributions. The city welcomed them back as heroes. The queen stood on her balcony, her aura glowing with pride. "Kian," she said, "you have not only protected our world but reminded us of the strength that comes from unity and courage. You are no longer just a visitor here. You are a part of our history and our hope for the future." Kian felt a deep sense of purpose. He had crossed the veil, fought battles, led missions, and faced ancient challenges, and yet his journey was just beginning. He realized that humans were capable of extraordinary things when they dared to reach beyond their own limits. That night, Kian stood on a balcony overlooking the city, the twin moons casting silver light across the crystal spires. He thought about the shadow swarm, the artifact, and the challenges that lay ahead. He knew the path would be difficult, but he also knew that he was ready. With courage, intelligence, and the support of his allies, he could face anything. The ancient secret was safe for now, but Kian understood that the galaxy held even greater mysteries and dangers. He was determined to protect this world, to continue learning and to prove that humans could rise above any challenge. As the city slept peacefully, Kian made a silent promise to himself. He would continue to grow stronger, think smarter, and fight with all his heart. He had discovered the true power of human ingenuity, courage, and determination. And he knew that with these qualities, he could help shape the future of this alien world and protect it from any threat. Kian's journey had revealed a truth he would never forget. Being human did not mean being limited. It meant having the potential to achieve greatness even among the stars. Kian stood on the balcony of the Crystal City, watching the twin suns rise over the horizon. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. The shadow swarm had grown more aggressive and cunning since their last encounter, and the queen had called for an emergency council. This time it was no longer a mission of defense, it was a decisive battle. The city's spires glimmered with energy as citizens and warriors prepared for what was coming. Kian felt both anticipation and determination. He had trained, led missions, and faced ancient challenges. Now everything he had learned would be tested. The queen approached him, her presence calm yet commanding. "Kian, the shadow swarm is approaching in full force. They know we have protected the artifact and they seek to destroy us. You must lead the defense and guide our forces. Your human insight may turn the tide of this battle." Kian nodded. "I am ready, Your Majesty. We will protect this world together." Talon joined him, wings shimmering with energy. "We have learned from each encounter. We know their tactics and weaknesses. Follow your instincts and we will follow yours. Together we can overcome them." The team assembled at the city gates, a combination of humans, alien warriors, and engineers. Kian addressed them, feeling the weight of leadership. "Today we face an enemy that has tested us again and again. But we have learned, we have grown stronger, and we have each other. Stand together, trust each other, and act with courage. We will protect our home." The shadow swarm arrived swiftly, dark clouds moving across the plains. Their numbers were vast, and Kian could see new creatures he had not encountered before, larger, faster, and more intelligent. He knew this would be their most dangerous attack yet. Kian directed the forces into formation, combining alien strategies with his own human instincts. He placed energy shields to protect the city's core, positioned snipers on high towers, and used decoys to confuse the approaching swarm. Every decision was calculated, every movement coordinated. The battle began. The shadow swarm struck with incredible speed, but Kian had anticipated their attack patterns. Using both alien technology and human tactics, he led counterattacks that slowed their advance. His energy sword flashed, cutting through the swarm, while alien warriors flanked and surrounded their enemies. A massive creature, the shadow swarm commander, emerged at the front. It was larger than any Kian had faced, with armored plates and glowing red eyes. It roared, shaking the ground, and charged toward the city's central crystal. Kian's heart pounded, but he stayed calm. "Talon, distract it while I lead the main strike," he commanded. Talon nodded, moving quickly to engage the creature with precision attacks. Kian gathered a group of elite warriors and advanced strategically, using a combination of human agility, alien weaponry and clever traps he had designed. Kian maneuvered the creature into a narrow canyon outside the city. The shadow swarm followed, but the canyon worked in Kian's favor. The walls amplified energy blasts and the terrain restricted their movement. Kian signaled his team, and they launched a coordinated attack focusing all their energy on the commander. The creature fought fiercely, but Kian's leadership and strategy proved superior. With a final strike from his energy sword, amplified by the city's energy crystals, the commander fell. The remaining shadow swarm retreated, their forces scattered and weakened. Kian breathed heavily, surveying the battlefield. The city was safe, the artifact was protected, and the enemy had been driven back. But he knew this victory was more than just strength. It was strategy, courage, and unity that had won the day. The queen arrived, her aura glowing with pride. "Kian," she said, "you have done more than defend our world. You have shown that humans are capable of extraordinary courage and wisdom. Today you have proven that our fates are stronger when united." Kian bowed respectfully. "I only did what was necessary to protect this world, Your Majesty. I could not have done it without the support of everyone here." The queen smiled. "And that is the greatest lesson, Kian. Strength alone is not enough. Courage, intelligence, and trust in one another make true heroes. You have embodied all of these qualities." The city celebrated the victory, but Kian remained thoughtful. The shadow swarm had been driven back, but he knew they were persistent. He also realized that humans brought a unique perspective to this galaxy: creativity, adaptability, and courage that could turn the tide even in the most impossible situations. Over the next days, Kian helped repair the city, working alongside engineers and warriors. He trained new recruits, sharing both human tactics and the alien techniques he had mastered. The city grew stronger, and Kian's influence became more significant. He was no longer just a visitor or a warrior. He had become a leader, a symbol of unity between humans and aliens. One evening, the queen called Kian to the central crystal chamber. "You have proven yourself, Kian," she said, "but your journey does not end here. The galaxy is vast, and there are still challenges that require your courage and insight. I wish for you to continue learning, exploring, and leading. Your human spirit is a beacon of hope for all." Kian felt a deep sense of purpose. He had crossed the veil, fought battles, led missions, and protected an entire world. He had faced ancient trials and defeated a relentless enemy, and yet he knew his journey was just beginning. "I will continue," he said. "I will protect this world and others if I can. I will do everything I can to show that humans are capable of greatness." The queen nodded. "And that is why you are special, Kian. Your courage, ingenuity, and determination have changed the course of history for our people. You are a true hero." Kian looked out over the city, the twin moons reflecting in the crystal spires. He thought about Earth, about the human potential that had brought him here, and about the bond he had formed with these alien beings. He realized that being human did not limit him. It empowered him. His courage, creativity, and determination had made a difference. That night, Kian stood under the twin moons, feeling a sense of peace. The city was safe, the artifact was protected, and the shadow swarm had been defeated. He had discovered the true power of humans in the galaxy, the ability to think, adapt, and inspire, even in the face of overwhelming odds. As he looked at the stars above, Kian made a promise to himself. He would continue to learn, to grow stronger, and to protect the innocent. He would honor the trust the queen and her people had placed in him. He would show that humans were capable of greatness, and that their courage could shine even among the stars. The future was bright, and Kian knew that his journey would continue. He had faced the shadow swarm, uncovered ancient secrets, and led beings from another world with wisdom and bravery. He was no longer just a human warrior from Earth. He was a protector, a leader, and a symbol of hope across the galaxy. The queen watched from above, her expression serene. "Kian," she whispered to herself, "you are more than we ever imagined. You are the bridge between worlds, and your journey is only beginning." Kian smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of adventure. He had crossed unimaginable distances, faced deadly enemies, and learned the value of courage and unity. And now, standing on the balcony of the Crystal City, he knew one thing for certain: humans could rise to any challenge, and their potential was limitless. The twin moons reflected his determination. Kian was ready for whatever the galaxy might hold. His journey had been extraordinary, and the story of the human warrior would be remembered for generations across the stars. And with that, Kian stepped forward into the light of a new day, prepared to face the future with courage, wisdom, and the unyielding spirit that made him human.